Hey everyone, welcome to Unlimited Railworks, Gamesline's anime podcast. I'm your host Rose, and we're switching people out. That's how it works. We don't have John this week, but we do have Elvie back here. That's from her many trials and tribulations out in that wild fucking world.
That's right.
And we also have a special booth edition of Maverick.
Hey, yeah, what's up? After Bunny Girl Senpai, I got bullied to be into the closet.
No.
After my bad opinions on anime.
No.
In the box, the timeout box.
Yeah, they're forcing me to watch all of Monogatari now.
I wouldn't do that.
I'm just watching the chicken gif over and over again. It's like a Clockwork Orange.
I mean, I guess it's you're sort of living the life of one of the like the sister. You're sort of like the sister now in Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yeah, no, I have amnesia.
You have amnesia, yeah. So this is just our I guess our first proper episode of the winter season of anime. Really? Because we sort of are. Is it fall? Fall.
Yes, it's technically fall.
It's fall season of
winter
anime.
Is always the new year.
It always throws me off every time. But winter doesn't fucking start until end of December, right? So, but yeah, last time we were mainly focused on talking about Bunny Girl, talked about a little stuff. Elvie was gone because Elvie is one of Elvie and Maverick are both like the workhorses of this podcast, I feel like, in terms of watching so many things a lot of the time. So we were sort of waiting for you to come around. I know John has been doing more reading recently anyway, so this is a good opportunity for us to get into all these series. Since you weren't here, Elvie, last time, what would you like to talk about first? What have you been feeling?
Sure. I think I want to start off nice and easy. I mean, there's not much I would want to say about it. I really like My Daughter Left the Nest and Returned as
good
adventure so far. Yeah, I really like it. It's very cozy, actually. I didn't expect that too. So far. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about it beyond being relieved that people who read the source material say it doesn't get weird at all. So that's great. It doesn't get weird
that
at all.
was absolutely my fear.
He stays a dad. The dad stays a dad. No boundaries are crossed. It's a nice familial thing.
Thank God.
Right, and for anyone who doesn't know what this is, yeah, based on a light novel. It's not an isekai. Fantasy, not an isekai. Great, stellar. And the premise is this, this experienced adventurer. He's taking it easy. He basically loses his leg, and he retires from that. He ends up finding a baby and raises her, and trains her and stuff. And it's just this very nice, like, it's just this very, I don't know, I guess slice of life is also kind of, I guess you would consider, but yeah, it's just a very nice, like, pretty low-key, like, fantasy series, where this girl grows up. She goes on her own adventure with her own oomfies, if you will. Like, there literally are. Like, they're all girls, I think. So, at least so far. Yeah, her own party members. And, meanwhile, she and the dad are kind of, like, having their own different things going on. The dad's also helping other kids with his life, etc. It's just a very nice, like, and really the crux of, like, any conflict is, like, him being worried about her running into her own conflict, and the fact that they're separated and they, like, really care about each other. And it's interesting with her, like, unpacking her own relationship with her basically adopted dad, and, like, other relationships with her party members and their own relationships with their parents and stuff. She's just kind of, I don't know, she's kind of like recruiting orphans. It's like, what is going on? Like,
that sounds good, honestly, because I feel like...
When she herself technically being one, and right, and of course, I think at some point, I think they're going to unpack, like, maybe her, I guess, like, I haven't reached a part in the series yet where, like, clearly her origins, obviously, like, why was she abandoned, like, what's her deal? And what were you going to say, Rose?
Oh, just that, like, I that's really refreshing, honestly, because I feel like these my problem with a lot of anime is just the refusal to engage with like parental relationships, as it were.
Yes.
Like it's very easy to just write them out and then just act like they were never existing.
Yeah.
In any way.
Yeah. The orphan trope is just like, or at least absent parents by convenience. Like, oh, they're just working a lot. Like in anime, especially, it's just like, again, it's a choice made with its storytelling to be like, well, like you projecting upon yourself this young character and wishing you had that life. Like, oh, no adults in the way, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Again, that's like kind of also the issue with a lot of like fantasy or fiction series in general, like where the protagonist is like a young character, and if it's not realistic, it's gonna tend to go to that route, right? And in this case, it's actually it's significant and important to like the premise. Like it's part of like the exploration of these different character dynamics and what have you. I think it's interesting too, like not in contrast, but it's interesting too. This is like running at the same time as Frieren, which I'm also watching and I really like as well and love so far. Depicting these very grounded situations too that are just more interpersonal and less fantasy in fantasy settings. It's a lot more introspective. It is kind of subtle to that. Yeah, the dad character, he is basically disabled. And I guess in a way also confronting his own mortality, just as like Frieren is as an elven person, in contrast to people who are not immortal like her, right? Like, I think it's really cool. I think it's like a really nice, interestingly timed like subset genre of fantasy right now, where it's like, oh, it's actually not so much about the fantasy. It really is about kind of like the interpersonal dynamics between these characters. And I really like that. I think that makes my anticipation more of the dungeon meshy like anime adaptation too. Like, I wonder what they're gonna, how are they gonna? Hoping it's good. Hoping it's good.
Like we were talking about that actually on the last episode a little bit, and
yeah.
I think my approach with that is just like knowing that it is the Little Witch team. I'd find it hard to believe that they would mess it up in any way.
Right.
Yeah, good. I'm honestly glad you said this because I almost watched it earlier today, and then I was like, oh, I still haven't heard anything about it necessarily. So
yeah,
I did have that trepidation that it was what was that one called? It was like Honey Drop or something. What was it?
Bunny Drop.
Bunny Drop. That's it. Usagi Drop.
There was Bunny Drop,
That's
and
it.
then there was that other fantasy series with a dad raising a girl.
Yeah,
and people were weird about like. Did they or did they, that was a little more confusing, but I'm leaning towards the fact that it did get weird, and chose weird choices, but this is not that. This seems to be immune from that, thankfully. And I would say, like, agreeing with some people's criticism, it's the quality of the animation sometimes is straight. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's moments where they're like they didn't want to put fade. I don't know. There's moments. It's not that noticeable, but there's sometimes some moments of stillness, like in the show, where it's like, oh, that looks strange. That looks weird. Like they look like they put a filter over the series. I don't know how to describe. Like there's parts of it that it's a little too. I don't know. Like they didn't want to like they colored the animation frames and then they put a filter over it. Like, it's a little oversaturated. I don't know how to describe. I'm trying to figure out the words for it, but it looks strange at some points, but that's not, like, detracting from it that much, but that's just something to point out, I guess. Especially because it is kind of like a slow, comfy series where you're kind of, like, watching it in a lull, so you're just going to notice that more compared to, like, something that has more dynamic scenes that you wouldn't, notice, and you're not supposed to, but... That's the only thing worth pointing out, I would say.
Sure. I come to expect that. I'm just happy to have something more in line with, though it was an isekai, it sounds almost a little similar to the Reincarnated as a Sword that I enjoyed. And I think Maverick did as well.
Yeah, no, I love it when a fantasy series is fairly normal.
Yeah. Like, I know the conceit of that one is he is reincarnated into a sword. However, they barely
He's like,
care.
oh, I gotta protect this child while also talking about the skill trees that you have access to.
Yeah. It helped that he was a gamer, really. That really was it in the end. Like,
And again, it's great that the girls aren't tropes, at least so far. The girls are very much like teenager young adults. They feel realistic, I think, in how they interact with each other too, in terms of being friends as well. So that's pretty cool. That's much appreciated. Would hang out with these girls. Again,
Good.
nothing insane happened so far.
Thank God.
Well, I'm glad for that. But speaking of insane things happening, I feel like we could just talk about Migi and Dali right away.
Oh boy.
So y'all are one episode ahead of me. I am one episode behind.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But even that is enough for me, because the episode before this most recent one was the one where one of them is dressed up as a girl and goes on a date with the other brother to trick him into becoming smart, basically.
Yeah.
And that alone was already insane. The things you have described in the recent episode sound even more insane.
Again, so it's important to note that it's like these are the smartest dumb kids alive, and that's a really good.
Yeah,
I love that characterization. God,
it helps a lot because it like I said, that Sakamoto, the other series that this creator had made, is very much just this is the most perfect person, whereas adding this level of like perfect yet imperfect really does, I think, add to the whole bit.
Like able to do contortionism, incapable of doing addition or subtraction.
Just
incapable of recognizing yourself, your twin brother.
Not knowing what a bicycle
In
is.
drag.
Not
That's
knowing
pretty
that. There's just so many layers.
I like it when they call like the dog they just don't like dogs. I like it when they call like dogs and animals like a monster. Like they exaggerate how they describe.
They don't
like,
call
they're
them dogs. They
monsters or
just call them
beasts.
beasts.
They call them beasts. Yeah, that's also the subtitles I'm getting.
Who's this beast?
Which is fair. They seem, which is fair. I'm sure there's like being threatened.
This
by
unknown
dogs,
creature.
That's just the way they be talking, like they are the type of guys to be like, dear God, it's the beast.
Yeah.
They're like this series is like Rugrats but like fucked up. Like, it's like Rugrats but macabre, because like those are like the babies truly don't understand what's going on, yet they're somehow navigating and surviving the insane shit that they're going through, and are looking at things through their own warped mind, and of course, describing things as
recently
babies would.
It's been pretty
Like,
it's been pretty like Rugrats.
It got pretty baby. Babies did happen.
So I guess just to like get a little bit more into the plot. So there's this underlying mystery. Migi and Dali have lost their mother, but they're sure that in the village that they're a part of now, somebody is like living knowing that they have killed their mom. So they're trying to find the murderer. And it brings them to the household of one of their classmates, Eiichi, if I remember right. And so
Yes.
they're going through trying to figure out like what's going on. Why is it that like this house in particular might be the one related to what's going on? And in the next couple of episodes, we actually learn a pretty good amount, where part of it is, that necklace that Migi keeps on him is actually a button from one of Eiichi's old pairs of pajamas. So there's this whole, like, happenstance that goes on that ultimately ends in Eiichi's mom saying, "Oh, how could you steal from my darling child? Maybe you should stay with us for a bit to learn how to be a good boy." And that leads into fucking toddler play. Like, I'm not even...
It's very frightening.
I'm not even exaggerating. Literally, it is, you'll learn how to be the perfect toddler, and then you'll learn how to be the perfect 5-year-old, and maybe, just maybe, we'll let you out. And in the middle of all that, Migi's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. Dali, they don't know you exist, so go explore the rooms. And in the middle of this, they find out that God, what is it? The room that Migi is being kept in is actually their old room, where they used to grow up in. At some point, Dali meets up with the housekeeper for the neighborhood, and both of them sort of like team up where like the housekeeper is very like snooty. Not snooty, like Snoopy. And is just like, whoa, all these secrets that are in the house. Maybe we can explore them. And from that, they find out that there's like a miniature diorama of the town.
Like the one in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Basically, it is. And it turns out it is.
And then right after this, the housekeeper is gone. No idea what happened to her.
She got.
Yeah.
We don't know yet, though.
But at that point, we are now in a situation where, as they're trying to get out of the house, they put some pieces together, and it seems like Eiichi's involved with the actual murder of their mom, Mistra. I'm trying to remember her name because they learned that in the middle of this too. But like, all this is to say that as a 5-year-old, Eiichi might have accidentally killed their mom, and he's like living with that guilt. But why she is out there in the first place, we still don't know. Questions are still unfolding, but now the most recent thing is, like, in the woman disguise that Dali has cooked up, tries to get in close with Eiichi, trying to get him to reveal those secrets, but in the middle of that, Migi finds out, like, oh, you tricked me in the first place with that disguise, I'm fucking mad.
Understandably.
Yeah, and so that is where we like most recently left off.
I'm glad that this is like a series that is complete and will probably. I don't know. I assume the anime will do it all,
I
probably,
feel like with the
because I don't
next
think
couple
it's
of
that
episodes
long.
they could do it.
Yeah. Just because it's like there's something about knowing something has an ending that makes like the increasing insanity so much scarier.
Yeah.
Almost of like you're like, well, this goes somewhere.
Exactly.
You know, like this resolves. It isn't just a game of like constantly upping it until you can't. I'm very fascinated to see where it goes. This is one of the rare times where I have tried to just avoid looking up any of the source material just because I want.
Oh yeah, no, I have not hit the manga yet.
They again when this is over, if you were satisfied by it, I do recommend Sakamoto. I think it is similarly insane, but it feels almost tame in comparison. Right. It really does. Like nothing in like the craziest they get in Sakamoto is like his friend's mom is like crazy in love with him.
Right.
That's like the most insane thing they do on Sakamoto. This is like that. This hits that in like episode 2, basically. I feel like that surpasses it. If not episode 1 with all that bullshit they were doing. Yeah.
It's an insane show.
It's an insane show.
I really love it.
I do love it too, honestly.
It's like some Lemony Snicket bullshit. It's like
that is what it is, really.
Yeah, like the dark gothic, like in macabre, like young adult, like kids novel,
but just with the stupidest
It doesn't push the edge. Yeah, rolled out. Like everyone is fucking weird, and it's like a logic that makes sense in that world, and it's like okay, sure, and it just gets weirder. I don't know what now, like at first. Not shocked, but it's like I think it's funny that it just keeps rolling with like what I think are like the weirdest tags you can find like on an AO3 like piece, like oh we got everything here. Yeah. It's very funny. Yeah.
Cannot wait to see or maybe I can wait to see what Insanity they get up to. I don't know.
It's a lot.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Honestly, the one thing I'll say about that show, just from the episodes I have seen, is I do kind of wish there was a little more of the side characters.
Yeah.
Like when they showed the dad and mom's perspective, it's so fucking good.
There are at least some bits that are included. Like there's a bit where Migi is trying to find Sally, Dali's alter ego, and his drawings are shit, but the kid that's in love with him is like, oh yeah, I've been able to decipher your rough sketches. You get to the core of what you want people to look like. And so if I take these pieces together, I can actually put together, it's like, she has the hair like our homeroom teacher, and then eyes like you, which is really interesting. I don't know why it's like that, but here's a perfect recreation of Sally while you're going to find out who, took her or whatever. And it's just funny having moments where he's like, am I annoying you? I feel like I'm annoying you. And it's like, again, the easiest manipulation of just like, no, I don't want you to get caught in the line of fire. You're my favorite assistant after all. As Migi goes to do whatever, and then the kid just falls to his knees, shouting in just pure ecstasy.
I love that guy.
He's so good.
I'm trying to. You still haven't watched Dead Mount Deathplay, have you?
No, I am very behind.
Oh, that's okay. I'll just do an abridged thing just to say that they're getting more into the. I would say, I guess, the crux of the main story now. A lot of things are lining up in the similar way to Durara around this time, but it is almost comical how many characters they introduce in that show. I think all of this creator is I don't know, it's like Ryoshi Narita or something. All of their stuff is ensemble casts with a ton of people, but Durarara sort of took time because it was you got the two yaoi guys, you got the main girl and her husband, and then you got the three kids, and that's sort of the core cast. And then you get to Durarara 2 and they start introducing 20 new people. This is we're on episode 18 or something, and there's already 40 characters. And normally I would be concerned, but honestly they've all served a purpose. Either they're for a one-off thing, or they exist in the larger thing of they belong to this organization, so it makes sense that they would be here doing X thing. It never feels that overwhelming. But yeah, I've really been enjoying it.
The bit that I've seen really sold me on it. I endeavored to go back to it. I've just been catching up on everything else. Next week, the Scott Pilgrim anime is supposed to come out. No, this week. Oh god, that's this week.
That's this week?
Yeah, the 17th.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I guess... I was just finally looking at the release schedule for games and being thank God it's letting up, but I guess we don't have that in this side of the world.
For stuff that's out, I've solidified the shows I want to catch up with for the rest of the season. It's not anything new is immediately grabbing me. So this is just the one extra thing that, depending on how long it is, because I actually don't know how long it's going to take. Does it say how many? Okay, it's an 8-episode thing. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's just normal length, I think.
Yeah. Canadian Monogatari.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that clip of Canadian Monogatari on Twitter, anyone out there listening, recommend. It's pretty good. Just Scott Pilgrim edited to Monogatari style flawlessly, I would say. Yeah, Dead Mount Deathplay's good. I recommend it to everyone. I think it's just a lot of good bits, and I think they're finally tying the groups together in a good way, where you have Durara style, these are the good guys and these are the bad guys, but the bad guys are more vague and weird more than they are just evil bad. They're also fully uncapped with just doing bullshit magic randomly all the time now. My only complaint with the second season has been that Solitaire has only shown up once, and he is the best character in that show. The middle-aged magician who fails all the time. I just love the idea of, like, a magician who's, like, crazy good and, like, reaching the limit of human ability with just how good their illusions and everything are, and then they have to acknowledge that real magic is real, and they can't do it. It's a good bit. Elvie.
Yeah.
You and I both watched, I don't know how much you watched of it, but we both watched Apothecary Diaries.
Yes. Yeah, a couple episodes in. Not a lot.
I watched the 4th episode today.
Oh, okay. I'm up to just the 3rd episode right now. Yeah. Which I'm sure it's not a big deal if you say anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not even going to get into, like, oh, and here's how they solved it, whatever, you know. But, no, I've been enjoying that more than the Raven of the Inner Palace, at least, I'll say. I think it has a lot of character.
We keep circling back to that because it's true. It's so sad, yeah. Yeah, and that one had a lot more that I think it was even promising, and it just didn't deliver. And this one has even less, I think, starting off with, at least, and it's doing a way better job in terms of execution, I would say.
The thing that I really like about it is that it is a medical mystery show, but it is more like a historical piece more than anything of, like,
yes, absolutely.
Hey, here are the politics of medicine almost.
In the first episode alone, I was wowed how much, like, they weren't holding back. Like, yep, this is these are concubines. Like, this is how it is. This is the situation that they did in this structure at that point in time. The
basis of the show, I should say, like, is basically this girl is an apothecary who lives with her grandfather, or just her father. Unclear. Don't remember.
Some sort of paternal relationship.
Some sort of paternal father. But she basically, like, goes around foraging to make medicines and stuff like that, and she also hangs out at a brothel, and then when she's on her way home one day, she just gets kidnapped and sold to the emperor, basically, as just a servant girl, because that's how it works. And I really like they immediately get into this idea of, like, they get a salary for working there that goes back to her family, which is just the people who kidnapped her. So, like, they sort of get into, like, how they can circumvent that and be like, oh no, you don't get any salary. Here's, like, a bonus you have that's different from your salary and stuff like that to try to help mitigate that.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, it's just basically this girl is as she's servant, and then she gets involved with basically solving, like, various medical mysteries that are plaguing the inner court of the emperor's castle, I guess. Just the enclosure. I don't know what to call it.
I forgot. They
call it something.
No, they were even explaining it. I forgot exactly, but they were explaining how, like, specific sections of the royal court palace.
They're like the back garden. Or something.
The separation between the front-facing nobility and royalty, and the harem, essentially, that is an open secret, but not even a secret. We know they're there, but they're just at the back, hanging out, and servant quarters, etc. That whole, like, structure. I do appreciate it's, like, very, like, just upfront and straight about that too.
Yeah.
Not really being weird walking around that issue, because that is the upfront of what this is. One of the first things she deals with is, like, an issue that seems to have been making one of the courtesans sick, and then unfortunately kills one of their babies. Figuring that out as to, well, the sort of makeup back then. And it is the first episode, so it's a pretty obvious, like, if you know historical, like, just general, the sort of makeup back then where there's just lead in it. Go figure. Just grinding up lead and all this other stuff to put white powder on your face, and and it's easy to conclude that's what's making the women sick, and or, like, having that physical contact, unfortunately, that's making their children sick. And as a result, she gets the attention of one of the eunuchs, Right, and then, yep, whenever I think about, like, the concept of eunuchs, it's just like, wow. Yeah, we did talk about this before in terms of the Raven Enterprise. It's like, oh, yeah, that was a thing. If not, maybe
really
also,
one of the
still
most
also
insane
kind of a
things
thing
we
in
maybe
some,
have done.
yes, also a thing, in some sections of the world as well, in terms of practice, but, like, yeah, it's like, wow, yeah, they just do that. Which, again, if you don't know what a eunuch is, they are, again, given the circumstances, right, like, these are the quarters for the emperor's, like, harem and concubines, like, all women, and they're, obviously, there's this, like, double standard of, like, we can't let men go there, we can't let men work there, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna have men who were castrated, and that was a specific, like, title and role, that, and mostly in China, like, I'm sure there's, like, a different term, too, for, like, other cultures and belief systems that have
They do that in Germany?
So, like, like, oh, we can't trust them around women unless they, so that's the whole thing. But yeah, like, her word of her. Well, in fact, the eunuch in question, like, noticed her at first. He's like, oh, she's different. There's that little, like, light romance going on. We have that. I don't know what's here to go. And who's really vouching for her, basically, and and in a way is, like, indirectly helping her to kind of, like, pushing her to, like, do more of this, right? In terms of, like, her reputation, that she's trying to remain low key, but that's not really what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I like it so far. I think my only criticism of it, especially when I went into the first episode, was kind of like how, like, again, when she was kidnapped, that was a little confusing at first. I know there are moments where the way it's edited, it's like, whoa, what happened? I literally had to, like, go back a bit and process, like, like, so, like, there are the moments of compression of time is a little strange, but that's again not a huge.
And going forward, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it has that, like, issue where some shows, they don't make a good visual distinction or clear language as to when something is a flashback, right? And this is one of those cases that it kind of does that, but it's not that. Otherwise, it is a very aesthetically, like, nice, very beautiful show, right?
Yeah, and I think later they do a good job of distinguishing them, just because she'll, like, talk about how she understands something occurring based on her history at the brothel, and they'll use a different animation style for it.
Yeah. There's a better frame. Yeah, for sure. There's a better framing device. Whereas in the first episode, at least, it was like we were kind of thrown in media res, sort of. And it's like, huh? Like, she didn't really. She wasn't established as a character yet, where, like, she was a voice, I guess, to the audience. But yeah, it's yeah, I really like historical, like,
the most recent one got into the idea of, like, more specifically, like, not, how to put it, like, stress-induced illnesses versus also, like, just the nature of, like, what society projects onto women that would cause them to have these issues and things that need to be solved, and why doctors can't figure it out because they don't care to learn about, let's say, the reasons why illness would occur at that period of time, especially. And just the different uses for her ingredients, like her fucking chocolate aphrodisiacs that she made.
Right.
In that second episode, I think. Just stuff like that. It really is doing better than Inner Palace for a lot of reasons, but I think, like, just having an interest in educating you about the time and, like, being interested in the time in general, like, really helps it. It really, really helps it. Also, turning them chibi. We've talked about this before. It's great when the characters in a work become chibi or, like, off-model in a fun way, and they do that a lot in this show.
Right.
Yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by it, because I was just going in, like, being like, I'm probably going to be disappointed again.
I'm gonna go one more time for my.
I mean, it helps. Yeah, it helps. There's no fantasy element too, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
That they, like, have to sell.
Eunuch Germany. That's all I had to say.
Speaking of Germany,
that can go multiple ways.
I don't actually. Yeah, I know. This is the most worst transition ever. Pluto, Maverick, you read all of it.
Yeah.
And you liked it.
I did. Ultimately, yeah. Like, God, what is there to say, ultimately? Like,
Yeah, what do you say? It is just I mean, I've only watched 2 or 3 episodes of the... 3 episodes? Of the anime.
Yeah, how have you been enjoying it so far?
Very impressed by it. I think it's I think the first episode, I didn't have a problem with it, but a couple people I know who have also watched it were saying, like, some of the animation's a little too smoothing, looks like almost AI-y at times in weird ways.
I could see that.
But it quickly goes away, I think. It's very, like, that first episode has North Number 2.
Yep.
And that's immediately earning its keep as an adaptation, I think, by utilizing the music factor of it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was watching the dub so far.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I don't know how it comes across in the sub, but I would say similarly, where, like, if you have not encountered Pluto, this is Naoki Urasawa's adaptation of Astro Boy, specifically, if I remember correctly, like the greatest robot on Earth, which is a Tezuka story about a robot Pluto made by a sultan, who then goes on to battle and vanquish the various, like, strongest robots of the world. And so taking that adaptation goes into a narrative that is similar, where it is different, like, examples of just, like, what these robots are. It's funny, like, once you start going back and looking at these various adaptations of materials, it's like, oh, this is where everything else comes up. Or, like, this is definitely the progenitor of other ideas. Like, the Tezuka story is where you get the robot masters, ultimately. If I'm, like, making that connection of just like, oh yeah, 8 or 9 of the strongest robots in the world that you have to take care of one by one. Okay. There's an actual, like, reference to one of the robots in Lies of P later on, like, is just fully taken on from the actual narrative. But all that to say is that so far, like, I appreciated the story, and yeah, it's like each episode is about 45 minutes to an hour to be able to be a full adaptation of the accompanying volume. And I think that's a smart way to go about it. At the same time, it's definitely one of those things where I believe Urasawa has a case where he wants his, like, adaptations of his works to be very faithful to the source. I don't think that's an inherently negative thing, but when I see stuff like, oh, Pluto could never be adapted, this is something that will take too long, and you see the finished product, it's kind of like, what were we waiting for? What exactly about definitely. It was difficult? Not because of any, like, lack of work from the animators. By all means, they are putting in as much work as necessary. I appreciate what I do see on display, but it's not like anything that necessarily is, like,
explains the years of this build-up, right? Like, it's really strange to see just like
Monster like, came out really like good, in what, mid-2000s, yeah. And people, I still need to watch and read Monster, of course, so I can't make the full accusation, but it's like people point to that as a seminal piece of fiction regardless of how you actually consume it, and that is at a point where it's like, everything is digipay. Like, people look at that era of anime in a very negative light, and only now has it been sort of like reclaimed for this attempt to push into new technology. We're not really seeing that right now. Like, the idea about what else you could add to animation has sort of plateaued in a way. Like, and I mean, what better to talk about the plateauing of technological advances than this story about how robots are in their own way wanting to be a part of society, but then are just put under their own levels of, like, scrutiny and discrimination. And it isn't really helped by having, like, 9 of the most advanced robots hitting that uncanny valley of sorts, or rather just being well past the valley that people don't know. But then at the same time, it's like, I don't know, like, it is a very... The thing that I can't stop thinking about is the fact that this is a story that is very critical of the United States government 20 years ago, that still feels very prescient now, and if anything, like, manages to make itself part of the conversation now. Not all of it lands. I definitely think that there's some stuff that kind of is, like, silly in the way that it ultimately comes around, especially with its depiction of some nationalities, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of heart. I can tell that Ursula really wanted to do this in a positive light, and I mean, he'll even go on to say, don't do what I did. Do not make yourself go through the turmoil of having to, like, do some sort of spin on one of your hero's greatest pieces of fiction, because it will eat at you in a way that nothing else will. Do not do this with my work if you're a fan of me. Leave it alone, because that'll just help you. It's not even me trying to say that, like, my stuff is good. You will just continuously think, is my piece of, like, material doing justice? And that feeling will not go away, which is an interesting way to go about it, all things considered, but...
It's very funny to hear him say this also when it is so good.
That's the other thing, too. Like, ultimately, yeah, like, it's a good... Like, it makes me want to engage with Tezuka. Right afterward, I went ahead and downloaded all the omnibuses that are available, because I want to... Tezuka is a blind spot that I do want to hit and really just get a better understanding of, because, God, I was talking about this on Halloween with a friend, where, like, like, when you hear, like, oh, the Godfather of manga or whatever, it's like, no, he is the guy that brought the conception of using comics to critique and to just, you know, have a medium to Japan, to a point where not only is it just the mainstream, you know, boys manga, but it is, like, these left-wing, like, self-published works that, like, very little of it is translated, because, like, there's little interest to translate it, or rather, like, it's still hard to find the actual, like, material to publicize, but that is still, you know, inspired by seeing this one guy do it and be like, oh shit, let me do it as well. Let me, like, get in there. And I won't say, like, it's really just the fact that, like, to see where, like, it all, or at least has an origin point and where it goes from there, like, that's what has me interested in Ursula. Has definitely helped it to at least be, you know, in that wave of people inspired that makes the curiosity grow. And that's maybe the best thing you could do with an adaptation. People to still say, like, hey, you know, even if my thing is great, I still want you to go and check out the source material, because that is ultimately what got you here in the first place.
I'm really interested to see more of it, just because I think it's obvious to point out, like, the nature of sort of what the basis of the story is trite ground in a lot of media. Just like, you know, the humanity of robots, but the way this handles it is way better, of just, like, at least from what I've seen so far, it's not, when you start the story as it's a given, these are guys, you know, like, this is a type of person, not so much of, like the interrogation being on the sociological level rather than the philosophical level really helps it.
Yeah.
Because it makes it just more interesting, because
Mont Blanc is, like, the coolest guy ever, and you'll never meet him.
Yeah.
It is such a good tragedy to be like, this is the coolest guy on the planet, and we start with him dead.
You're just going to keep learning about how cool he was over the course. Yeah, like, it's just so smart in every way that I've seen so far. Like, as an iterative work also, like, adaptational or whatever you want to call it, like, it's just so interesting to make. It's just such an interesting thing to make. I know, contrast to what he said, I wish more people would do stuff like this, genuinely, because it's just so interesting to me to be like, here's what I think of this world that I have entrenched myself in.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think it would be like, oh, make your own commentary on the world's strongest robot.
Yeah.
Make your own commentary on these stories that I've come through. Which I think is one way to go about it. Like, if you're gonna make the commentary piece, rather than having someone critique your critique, you'd want to see more critiques of the original work. And in a way, not only are you just sort of like bowing down as this like successor of a successor, you're willing to say, hey, I'm a contemporary. I am someone that is willing to put my hat down and be on the similar level as you. Which, honestly, I think a lot of artists do appreciate. Not just having people that are like fans, but then to also say, let me step in there a little bit. Let me get in the space and work in the similar themes and stories that you want to work on.
Yeah. That actually gives me... I was going to toss it over to something else, but that actually gives me a good transition point just for a short little thing that I've been watching, the I'm in Love with the Villainous.
Oh,
I talked about it last time, but a little bit about it last time anyway. The thing that's really good about that show is its examination of making its protagonist an actual fan of the thing that she likes, this game that she's been put into or whatever. Just having it be like, she is a doujin creator for this game, so she did all this research on like what would be the politics of this time period, what would be the like agricultural worlds, what would be the like just imagining all these different layers of the worlds like pouring over the text because she loves it so much. So then like her engagement with it isn't as a gamer perfectionist, it's as like, I know everything about this world,
right,
so I can like really just, you know, get past the bullshit and just do the character work that I want to do. I can get these characters to interact. I can do these things. Just, I really like this angle of like actual legitimate appreciation of media, especially in a time period where with isekai, isekai everywhere. Isekai, oh my god, I don't know what happened to my voice there. Isekai is really this thing where it feels so fake. Like, it doesn't feel like these people care about these fantasy settings, like, ever. And it doesn't feel like when it's a video game thing, it never feels like these are people who play video games. Like, the Sword Art Online guy is famously the guy who never played any video games, right? And, like, he just made a whole series about it. And you can tell that he does not play video games because he invents insane things like Gun Gale Online. But it's just like seeing like works like this or works like Pluto, as funny as it is to draw a parallel between them, like it really is just like, you know, these are both the products of like someone who actually really cared about something. Yeah. And it really does make a difference in how it's presented just in general, because there's a care put into it. There's an idea of what they want to explore and what you can tell they've thought about over years, right? About these different ideas and different like components to this thing that is ultimately like disconnected from it at a certain stage. It's just, we could stand for more. I would love more of just genuine care, genuine interest, in a body of work.
Yeah. In a similar vein, I don't mean to hog the conversation piece, but I remembered now. I forget if I included this in last week's episode, that I had read through the rest of Beck.
I don't think you did.
All right. If I did, well, it's a repeat, but, you know.
Yeah.
So the original series, Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad, famously, it gets up to a point in the manga where they play through a like Summer Music Festival. And then at that point, the series ends on a slideshow of some of the events that happen right after, which is sort of like their first US tour, the ups and downs of tour life, and then eventually meeting up with their lead guitarist Ryusuke in Seattle, where they're all back together again and then trying to figure stuff out after a very rocky, like, US experience. And reading the rest of the manga, there are interesting points that I really wish would eventually get adapted, specifically in the minutia of saying, like, you know, we have a hit album in the States on the indie charts, but that's not necessarily equating to success for us here in Japan. We're taking out part-time jobs to make sure we're meeting, like, bare minimums. We, the main character Koyuki, like, drops out of high school to just focus on being a part of the band. And, like, it's cool to see, especially something like the mid-2000s, where it's like, you know, my mom wanted me to at least make sure I go through all the proper procedures, but yeah, I'm going to focus on this instead of being in school. It's very cool to see a manga that is like, there are other paths to take your life. But then it's also quick to be like, this doesn't mean you're going to be immediately successful. It's very hard on the reality that everyone is supposed to live in. And ultimately, you know, it lends itself into some melodramatic avenues that I don't hate on principle, but they feel like they really detract from what the overall message is, where, you know, ultimately Koyuki is a good singer. He is a very positive highlight of the band when it comes to his singing, and so obviously a narrative point that you have there is, oh, what if record producers came by to specifically try and get him into a solo deal, while he's very much wanting to be like, you know, I want to play in a band. I want to be involved with my own stuff, or like with my band's stuff, instead of just doing something by myself. And that disconnect is really powerful. At some point, Chiba, the like rapper of the group, which, you know, at that point is a very poignant thing to say, where it's like, we're post Rage Against the Machine, nu metal kind of came and went. What is like the purpose of a frontman in modern rock and roll? As we're getting like to 06, 07, 08. It's a poignant question to raise, and I don't think we ultimately get an answer there, but I think there are a lot of ideas that get played around with that are cool, but then a lot of it has to, like, kind of comes back around to this idea of, like, needing to have a happy ending, which I'm not against, but then it also comes up with, like, these very weird ideas of what representation looks like in rock, and more specifically the way that identity gets explored. Like, this was already a thing with the anime, where on very face value optics, you have the villains just being like two black men who are threatening a group of Japanese kids. And that looks a very specific way from the outside. Even with the understanding of like, oh no, this is a record producer who is like, you know, very methodical and just thinks about the industry as an industry, doesn't care about the music aspect of it. Eventually you get to this explanation that's like, oh, because I grew up multiracial, because I belong to 5 different races, no one would claim me as my own, so I had to learn how to tough it out in the streets. And it's like, Harold, I think you have a good manga here, but like, bro, what are you talking about?
Many such cases.
It's a very, like, cloying methodology to your villain that just doesn't make sense when you interrogate it a little bit, especially as someone who comes from New York, where it's like, it really does not matter the background that you come from, so long as you're willing to put time to be a part of the community. Now, if you rewrite that, where this is someone who doesn't understand how to be a part of a community, who only understands power, there you have an interesting component. There you have a story that lends itself to the ins and outs that you bring up. And that's, something that's interesting. It's just also funny when you write down, the famous guitarist that everybody loves and this famous R&B singer couldn't still become like together in a relationship due to racial differences. What does that mean? What did this white boy say? Did he try to think he had the pass? Harold, what are you trying to tell me? You need to be deliberate here.
I feel like you see that so much. And it's just like, at a certain level, you're like, why?
But then it's also the inverse, where it's like, there's this appreciation of rock from the 60s, the 70s. There's a lot of appreciation of Hendrix, of Queen, like these outside influences. But then it feels like, and again, this is only from my experience of reading the manga, where the scene in Japan, from what I can tell, never seems to be as strong, which is wild to me considering, this is around the time that Number Girl is getting big. You have, yes, a very pop-focused sensibility, but like pop and indie in the form of like Asian Kung Fu Generation, in the form of a lot of these other bands that were coming up just immediately making waves. And then compounding that with what's going on in the West, where it's like you have people discovering the Pillows, you have people discovering, like I said, AGK, you have people discovering Sambo Master, which is in its own way like a means of getting the music out there and really just developing what that scene ultimately is. And it feels like there's just this asymptotic approach to what Beck can become as a result, where maybe they're the greatest band of all time, but that means that they have to be more than just a band from Japan. The amount of times that people go, man, your bassist is super funky, there's no way he's from Japan, ignoring like the 20 years prior of like jazz and funk influence in Japanese music, where you probably have multiple noted bassists that are, grown up in disco, funk, bass technicalities, and like just understanding what that music is like. It's so all over the place, and I can only say that after the fact, not only of like reading the manga, but of also like experiencing more music in other locations and getting a better understanding about like what's coming both in and out of my own space and of other spaces. So it's curious. I think it's still worth reading. There are things that really did like get to me ultimately, and like I really appreciated the growth that Koyuki shows over time, especially as he's trying to like, figure himself out in this like 4-year journey and knowing that there is still more to come afterward. But yeah, there's a lot that I'm left with that has me at least more appreciative of the fact that just organically I've been able to have a better understanding of like genre and of culture from just, one specific niche component.
You definitely didn't talk about it last time, I just want to tell you, because everything you were saying was new to me. And I edited that episode, so I know for sure.
Okay, dope.
Yeah. But no, good. I mean, mostly good, I guess. No, it's always strange to me how it feels like there are like these really consistently obvious like blind spots in a lot of manga. That like, because that's what makes Fujimoto stand out almost in a lot of respects, is you can tell it's like a dude who has not consumed, but watched a lot of movies, read a lot of things.
He loves to just be like, here's this thing I watched, here's this content
and then
I've seen.
like with what you're talking about, it doesn't sound like they're not doing that at all, but it does seem like they run into like the same blind spots that you see.
I will not like argue the encyclopedic knowledge that the mangaka has, but at the same time, it's like, cool, you're telling me about, Jimi Hendrix's location. What is the importance then of like Jimi Hendrix as probably one of, if not the best guitar player in rock and roll history as a black man.
Yeah, and it just wrapping it up in that weird.
Again, it's things where it's like ultimately, I don't need them solved in the manga, but I'm just hoping that like it's stuff that the mangaka himself has been able to just, sit with and build a better understanding of on his own time. Because it's nothing that's necessarily negative, but it's more just like, okay, giving you the credit that this is like right around 2008, right before probably like the election is in like full swing. So let me at least get a better idea for what like the geopolitical landscape looked like at that time, like 99 to 08. And there's stuff that clears, but then there is stuff where it is like, I would not be surprised if somebody from the time would like look at them and be like, dog, what are you talking about?
What do you have any other manga plans on your plate? Right now?
Manga that I'm planning on right now. I still have volumes 11 and 12 to catch up on for Delicious and Dungeon before the final ones release later this holiday season. I think I might have started Blue Period, but I'm like wishy-washy on that. I've also got Billy Bat, 20th Century Boys. Nothing set in stone just yet, but yeah, just been like going through stuff as I can.
Nice. I need to follow in your footsteps desperately. I think because I mentioned this before. The Magus Bride season's going on right now, the second one or whatever, and I'm just like, man, she made a whole ass new manga that I just have not gotten to, and I really need to pick it up.
Eventually.
Elvie.
Yeah.
I've been dying to hear you talk about this, as I told you before the show. What's going on with those damn ninjas? The under ninjas?
It's not Naruto for sure, or Boruto. Whatever's more relevant in the...
let me tell you, I'm still thinking about time skip Boruto and salad. The design was...
Wait, they had a time skip?
They did.
Oh, Elvie.
Oh my
if you
god.
haven't seen them.
I'm under a rut. So they're teenagers now. They're having their own Shippuden? What's
I don't
going
even
on?
know if they're teenagers. I'm going to be real. I'm going to show you
They're
an
like
image
15, I think, now.
Yeah.
They look insane. I need to find the fucking picture. I just need to find the picture. I don't know why it's so hard to find this damn picture. Oh, here it is. Okay. Just like, I don't know what they're cooking over there. I don't think it's
Right.
good.
I mean, has any of it been good?
No.
hasn't.
But there's like something new in the water. I don't know. Just take a look at that I just posted in our group chat.
Oh.
I don't
What?
really know what's happening.
The image I'm seeing is some grown ass Boruto. He's got a scar.
He looks like he's like
It's like
40.
Naruto, but someone's... Yes!
like the shirt especially is just really killing the vibes of like,
Yeah.
this is I don't know.
What's going on? Next to him is that
That's
Sakura Sasuke's daughter?
Sarada,
Salad.
I believe is her name.
What is her outfit? What's going on?
They
She's,
look like they're in the
wearing these,
middle of like
go-go...
a fight is the thing that's getting me. They look like they're in the middle of a bunch of guys and she looks like she is
gonna
wearing
go
a
to the
club outfit. Yeah.
They're gonna go to the club. She's wearing like a tube top. First of all, that's gonna slip. Girl, you made a choice. Oversized jacket, hot shorts, leg warmers, and heels. She's living in Y2K. Y2K has hit the Naruto-verse.
According to the wiki, Boruto is now 16.
That looks like a man. That looks like
that is. He looks older than Naruto did at the end of Naruto.
I was gonna say, like, Naruto
Yes.
makes sense. That is like someone that is in the throes of puberty, but is like better understanding himself.
He just had a bad growth spurt. Yeah, it's awkward.
This is what happens when you grow up.
This
in the
is
wild.
like two people having a fight right outside of I'm trying to think about what's one of the, like, Our Wicked Lady or one of the other goth nightclubs that are around here. Or like goth bar.
Yeah, one of the bars.
Yeah, no. Soraru and Rib are fighting outside the Little Caesars on Kosciuszko Street, and they're getting really heated.
They're really heated. There's a guy with just like a food cart outside. He's just doing his best. He's still making sales though, so that's great. It's attracting attention. He's getting his sales. I mean, as wacky as a burrito is a being, Under Ninja is wacky. The premise is, it's a strange series. I can't exaggerate enough. It is a very strange series. I don't know what they're trying to achieve with the tone of this series. If I were to start off describing this, I am a little confused if it's supposed to be like a satire or a dark comedy, or is it being played straight? It could be all of the above, but I don't quite know. What I can say is that the premise in this series is that in Japan there was there was like a wide, universal ninja organization. They're everywhere. Who's to say? It's very funny. It's very funny. So World War II happens.
Always a great start.
Yeah. They don't explain this. So the way to one of my first problems in a series is that's very achronological and it's confusing. But anyway, at some point they do explain this origin story. World War II happens, World War II ends. Ninjas are about to, ninjas almost like assassinated General MacArthur, all that shebang, we got, right, we have the whole, document written up, the dissolution of the powers of ever, all that. And as a result, the ninja organization had to be dissolved. Ninjas just can't be ninjas right now. We gotta, we can't, they gotta cool it. That's not okay.
You can't have a standing army of ninjas.
You can't have a standing army of just ninjas around. We're in the modern day now, and of course ninjas still exist. They're trying to rise up again. There's this there's this weird underground, so that's why it's called Under Ninja. That's the code word of the underground ninja uprising. They say it in the series. That's why it's called Under Ninja. And yeah, a lot of them are secretly still around. But as ninjas do, you don't know who's who. And yeah, they're all in various syndicates and divided turfs, if you will, and gangs. And a lot of them are just freelancers doing stuff. The series focuses on this guy who's a NEET. His name is Kuro, very original. Just very original name of guy whose name is Darkness. He's a NEET, shut in, but he is a ninja. He is a legitimate ninja, and he gets and basically the series of events kick off with him getting this weird job, after a long time of not getting any ninja work, hey, he gets assigned this assignment to infiltrate this high school, and get some stuff, and basically it's a whole dispatching. And it pretty much opens up into this kind of ensemble cast situation. It jumps around from him, it jumps around the high school students, and what's going on with the dynamics of those. It jumps around with these characters who are kind of part of the whole Under Ninja conspiracy to bring ninjas back into the forefront of I don't know. And the most baffling character is that they introduce up front in the end of the first episode is this white Russian guy. They just cut to him. They just cut to this white Russian guy landing in Japan. He's talking to at this career services agency, and he says, "I came to Japan to become a ninja." And they legitimately got a voice actor who does speak, from my understanding, fluent Russian. I could be wrong, but he's speaking Russian. It's very coherent. And he's getting thrown in all this madness of things. Another baffling thing is that the opening of the first episode is all CGI, yet none of that ever happens again in the rest of the series, which is all so that's probably what people saw in the teaser, and that's very weird. And it's this weird COD-ass sequence of these guys breaking into, I guess, in a hostage point. It's, again, very funny because half of the voice actors are speaking fluent English. They might, in fact, be, fluent in English, and then at least one guy is not, and it's very weird. So they're all speaking English, these, kind of throwaway, lines you would hear in a first-person shooter game, being we're
Stay frosty.
Yeah, no, they say "Stay Frosty." One of them does say "Stay Frosty." Anyway.
That's how you know they're real.
But this is this is the intro to the series, and it's like so weird and unnecessary because they go in and they find the guy, like I guess like a terror. I don't know. I don't even know what like is this the Afghanistan war? Like where are they? They don't explain it. They just showed a scene. And like they go in and like this guy's head is like sliced off, and one of the guys is like, only ninjas could have done this. And then the series starts. And it's like, we didn't need to see this to like get into the universe that like ninjas are real. And ninjas are in essence real, but ninjas are around and like a mainstay in this world. And yeah, no, that's fucked up, right? This guy got like decapitated with a sword. Isn't that fucked up and crazy? Like, why was that even there?
Ninjas.
Only ninjas could have done this. And they like maybe showed it again one other time, but it is so strange. And yeah, the series is all over the place. I guess my best way of like, yeah, so there's such a strange tone to it. Like the look of it is, as we've discussed in the past, having watched Boogie Pop Phantom, and like the interesting kind of Adult Swim, late night anime Toonami aesthetic that kind of like influenced, alongside like Serial Experience Lane, the grunge look. It has the grunge look, which I think is very interesting. Like I think that's what drew me in initially. It's like, yeah, I think I can see this kind of like, there's a vibe here I get. And I really like that, yeah, the ninjas are treated as this weird grounded thing. Like there's a whole and again, the series is written by a man, and again, like back to my issues with the tone, like there's all weird, like, is that supposed to be funny? Is that like a cheeky joke against women? I don't know. Like the neat main character, again, he's the central character. Like he lives in an apartment, and like he has this weird platonic interaction with like the only other woman in the apartment unit, and her whole shtick is like, oh, she's a little aloof, she's a little floozy, and they don't do anything with each other. It's actually a bizarre, like so far it's bizarrely like a nice friendship they have going on, but her whole thing, she's like always drinking and stuff. Like there's like a perverted character that has a thing for her, and it's like, I don't know what they're doing with this character. But like there's a very like, goofy scene where she's in the bathroom and she's like, I need toilet paper, and and then the neat guy, he's like, okay, well, all right, and he does this is the first time we see him like demonstrate his capabilities. He like does a whole stupid thing where he climbs over the toilet and he's like, I'm not looking at you, etc., and he gets her like her toilet paper. It's like a very weird, goofy like moment, and it's like, oh, okay, I could see where it's going. And yeah, I just like how so far like the portrayal of ninjas and the things they can do is actually grounded in like realistic things people can actually do in real life. So again, not Naruto jutsu stuff, no magic, none of that. It's very much like practical martial arts and weird, goofy ways to like incorporate that in real world like issues. Where yeah, he's being like, there's times where he's being asked to do stupid favors like reaching things, and at some point like they're talking on the roof and he falls, but he manages to catch like the girl. And so yeah, it's all this stuff. So there's like some meat there. There's like, okay, this is an interesting world. I dig it. Like I do kind of like this bizarre like practical like exploration of like, okay, what does like widespread population ninjas mean? I guess I don't know. But there are weird vibes. There are definitely weird vibes that are like, I don't know if this is funny. It reminds me a lot of like Hiroyo Oku's work. Again, the person who made Gantz and Yoshiki. Like there's a lot of stuff like that where there's this weird dark humor that I'm not sure is supposed to be funny or supposed to be satirical. There's like there's a character who's just apparently some sort of veteran that's part of the Under Ninja movement, and he's having this conversation where like, again, there's all these like side characters I don't even know the name of, but like again, they're just jumping around where, there's this like, of course, dissent within like the whole Under Ninja movement. And this guy is like, the first time we see him, he seems like he's a pedophile. I don't know what to say. Like he's in a park where he's like, oh, I'm selling breast milk, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, and then they he doesn't do anything with that. Like it's just a weird thing he does. Like they don't show anything. He doesn't do anything to the kids. There's nothing like, and it's like, is that just a weird off-kilter joke? Like why is he like this? And then they show he's like a serious character, but then he goes back to that shit. Like again, it's very weird. Like a lot of characters are just like this in the series. Like they have a weird thing that they just don't like elaborate on. It's just like, why are they like this? What is the point of this? Is this supposed to be a weird joke? Like, is it just a haha, I'm quirky kind of thing? And other people have been reading and when I say read, I think just a general scan of the series, have also been like saying there's like weird kind of like potential dog whistles too in regards to like Japanese nationalism, unfortunately, as well, which I kind of like don't, which I kind of agree with, you know, but for me, again, from my own like less informed perspective, of course, it's not that apparent to me, right? But like from reading other people's perspective, it's like, okay, I could see that, especially with the whole like leaning into the stereotypes of like ninjas in a way. Like I don't know like what right, I don't know how like in terms of like talking about ninjas and ninja societies in Japan, I don't know how like what is I personally don't know the fluctuation of like the discipline and how that's taught and the history of it. So like I can definitely see it being weird that the series is leaning in on stereotypes of that and then having this white character. Which at a glance, I'm like, is that just not making fun of foreigners? Like, I would think that, like, but then they're also leaning in with that character being like, yeah, like, you know, Japan's big selling point is ninjas. We got these cool people. You know, I don't know. It's very like, what's the word? What was that tourism initiative? Yeah, I don't know. Like, just bizarre, like, tourism initiative, like, energy of Japan in the 2000s. Like, yeah, the series is just overall weird vibes, and I don't know what to think about it. As with
like
many
not
other
like
people.
Go Japan, right?
Like, there's a lot of stuff there.
Was it like Go Japan or?
Yes, Go Japan or something like that. I think, or like, Cool Japan. Oh my god, yeah, Cool Japan. That was
right,
what it was
because
called.
then you have what is it? Unseen Japan as a.
Yeah, Unseen Japan is different. Unseen Japan is a legitimate publication that does a good job of covering social
what it feels like a
issues in
response to Cool Japan.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're named that way. But like, yeah, it's a really strange series. Which again, in comparison to what we talked about in regards to like Migi and Dali, where like the absurdism of it is consistent, and it's like, okay, we could kind of see the progression, and it doesn't give me icky vibes, you know what I mean? I think that's the main thing. It is the main thing. It doesn't give me icky vibes, like the way it pays off. It's like, okay, I see the joke here, I see the train of thought that led to this, but yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird series. It's just a strange series.
It sounds insane. I can definitely see like where the angle would come from of like, because I was wondering when you started talking if it was like, if the implication is like, oh, Japan didn't have a standing army, but they kept the ninjas in hiding.
They kept the ninjas, yeah.
So that's like, I totally understand where the dog whistles would come from.
Where it's like, oh, why didn't Japan have a standing army? Do you want to interrogate that a little bit?
Yeah, because I could definitely see why, like, it reads to me as like, to go back to honestly what we were talking about with the manga a little bit, Maverick, of just like this idea that like they're just, yeah, I really like ninjas. I don't know. I'm going to use some bits to talk about how cool the ninjas are rather than like, you know, examine less necessarily the reasons why these things are occurring or existing. But no, that's, I didn't know it was a manga. I mean, I figured it was based on something, but seeing that it's a
which is ongoing,
yeah. It's, I wonder where it goes.
I know the author's past work. It revolves around a lot of like, you know, outsiders. You know, like you know, folks who were bullied and stuff, and like climbing against that and all that. So I don't know. It's just a strange. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. Really.
Well, I hope that it doesn't go anywhere dark. I'd assume someone would have mentioned it if it actually went somewhere like Attack on Titan levels of stuff or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the general consensus right now, it's just like, what is this? Like,
yeah,
what is
it's a little
this?
like, oh, okay.
This is weird. Again, like, yeah, like just thinking about it more, yeah, it really does feel like a weird, like the stuff. Yeah, again, I don't know. Is this supposed to be funny? Like the weird approach to like, again, like the Gantz creator. Again, like the Gantz creator making a fucking manga about a Gigantus, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Like, is this someone's like, I don't know. It feels like a weird emulation of that, like just being weird.
Sure.
To be weird.
Yeah. You see a lot of that.
Yes. Which I learned today, there is a Gantz ongoing spin-off which takes place in the Edo period. And I'm like, who asked this? Why do we need more? I felt like Gantz had closure, but okay. And it's ongoing. This is the most recent manga.
Speaking of insane, Maverick, how about those 100 girlfriends?
Oh, they've been going.
They
They're
really, really, really love you. They sure are.
They continue to love. We got the last time that I've been on, did we see the most recent girlfriend and then
I don't think so. Oh, well, we saw the silent girl who can't talk and uses her phone.
Yeah, okay. So we got to her, and then just recently I caught up with AI, the number one top student.
She is certainly something.
Not gonna lie, she's obviously my favorite at this point.
I mean, I think she's the funniest one,
Yeah.
easily. Her bit is just, she's a super pragmatic, logical reasoning taken to a fault type person, but she's so insane.
Like, okay, for science class, we're gonna go draw some cells off of an onion skin. Why would I do that? I could just copy it off the textbook. It already shows me that it's there.
Yeah.
Which is a good bit, I'm not gonna lie.
The thing that I really appreciate this show is, like, as someone who, my old roommate had me watch a ton of just generic romance anime, and they all frustrated me with their bits, and this series in general just feels fixated on the idea of, like, I'm going to cover all those bits and, like, just speed run them in the most insane way possible every time. And and they can be sincere about it too, like we said with that one episode with Shizuka, where it's like, this is genuinely charming and cute and nice, and, like, you're interested in this, exploring this character. But, like, with this one, they're doing the same thing, but, like, just really going insane with it. I'm still really enjoying this show.
Yeah, no, like, it's having fun, and it really just is, like, committed to this idea that, like, we are essentially building out a whole polycule. Like, everyone is given equal time to shine, which is a curious way to go about it.
I just love that they all want to hang out and they want to get along. It's refreshing because I feel like so often, even in, like, the ideal romance situations, there's just so much contrivance with, like, in an anime, I mean, in a series like this, there's just so much contrivance for, like, the drama of it all, and it's like, why would they hate each other like this? That's not really how people are, hopefully, most of the time.
Right.
Like, not dismissing the idea that there will be jealousy in certain situations or something like that, or, like, weird shit will go down, but it's like, maybe we could, every once in a while, take an optimistic route. And that's sort of what I've been appreciating about it, is overall just, like, all of the girls are hanging out with each other. It's not just, like, just hanging out with, like to think of a evil version of this, it's the fucking smartphone anime, right?
Where everyone is just attached to the hip of Rentaro.
And, and they're just a one-note character that exists for their gimmick of being a ninja or being a shrine maiden or being whatever, and, like, they just get a new one for every new arc instead. And this is taking that idea but, like, doing it justice, which is insane to
No,
say.
the mouth-to-mouth bit in the most recent episode was genuinely hilarious. Of just, like,
he died.
I don't blame him. If I were 15 to 17 years old, and two of my girlfriends were like, hey, here at the water park, I need you to do you need to cop a feel right now because we're both desperate. I get it, I would die, and then they would be awful at giving me mouth to mouth because they would just be fixated on that too. It captures horny in a very funny way. The fact that every woman in the show is also horny is fun. Yeah,
that helps a lot, like, genuinely. Like, it is really refreshing because it's like there is just this idea, and, like, so many of these, like I said, like, they capture the chasteness of the average romance series in the Tsundere girl.
But even then, she's like,
but even then,
I want to, like, go at it.
It's more realistic.
Or at least, like, figuring out my limits for it. And, having a main character that's like, okay, like, I love you, but I don't need you to, like, rush to prove that to me. Which then in turn makes every, like, woman in his fucking small army just go like, oh my god, that's so hot. It's a back and forth that makes a lot of sense, and it makes the actual engagement with everything like all the more funny.
Yeah. It's just a really smart show, which is, again, not what I was expecting, honestly. I was ready for it to be insane, and it is insane, but it has a heart to
No,
it.
exactly.
It has an understanding of relationships of any kind, sort of. Just that's like, damn, like, okay. I was not expecting that from the 100 girlfriends who really, really love you.
It shows that if you were to communicate and actually talk this kind of a scenario out, you could get pretty far and actually be able to like lead a pretty fun life as a result.
Yeah.
I'm staring daggers into fucking Teen Snafu.
No, I know. I think my wife's been talking a lot about that one
because it is such
just like, yeah.
Again, that is literally the show where it's like, no, you are all understanding that the three of you have feelings for one another, and you're getting bullied by this one college idiot who's mad that she can't get a date, probably.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. It wouldn't be an episode without me talking about Nisekoi for some reason. But fucking Nisekoi, like, let me tell you, all those girls like each other. They all hang out. They're all good friends. And then it's like, I'm going to kill you because I want to date this boy. And it's like, dog, shut up.
Tenchi works because it's ultimately just two of them that are, like, getting into the middle of that.
Yeah.
And then from there, you'd still just have the girls hanging out and having fun, which, you know, means everyone's having fun. And then in, I guess, the opposite way, Tenchi just being so like, oh my god, I gotta make sure everyone's having a good time. I don't have time for romance. What are you talking about? That makes it work. Like, it's like, ladies, I don't have time for this. We're in space.
The thing that I think of is, or the thing that I was thinking of with this is the friggin', it's a bit of a non sequitur, but the Trails does it sometimes where it's like, maybe Cold Steel's the bad example, but like in Trails in the Sky, there's a bunch of parts where like characters are like, I love Joshua, but I know you love him, so goodbye forever. And it's just like, okay, I don't really know where this came from or why this is a problem now. It just, these weird, like, I just wish these people would actually, like, I wish people with romantic experience would write the romance story.
Well, I mean, that's what Angelica is offering. Like, she is endeavoring to close the gap.
She sure is.
In your talk about historical context before, again, like, now that you've encountered her, my headcanon of like, oh, she's a gay woman but has only been around chauvinistic men, so this is her interpretation of everything. Yeah. That is a fun wrinkle in the way that, like, you know, still a very patriarchal society, but like this would be a way, I assume, and I would assume that like there would be texts that would point to this, just sort of the way that queerness gets explored. It's like a very, like, but what if Lady Oscar was more of an asshole about going about things?
Yeah. Which
then means I have to watch more Rosa Versailles eventually, which is on the docket for me, but
it's good.
But, 100 Girlfriends really just putting a lot of romance to shame.
Yeah, I was not expecting to say that ever.
No, like, but that's where we're at.
But man, yeah.
Have you started it at all, Elvie?
No. Well, I know I did see one episode. I haven't gone further though.
It's, like we said, insanely good somehow. Like, actually, like, the episode with the girl who can only talk through her book and her phone later, it's genuinely a good episode. Genuinely heartwarming. And it's such a good production, too, in general, as well, is the main thing. Really smooth animation. I don't really have that much to say about Ragnar Crimson, which is the other show I'm watching. I'm only like 4 episodes in. It's just good, chuny fun. Just if you want a chuny thing, go check that out. It's on High Dive, I think, or you can find it wherever. But pretty good stuff. If you ever wanted to see cool, edgy... They just keep inventing edgy villains for every, like, 2 episodes. There's just a new guy that they need to blow up who has a great bit to them. And it's really fun. I feel like we've really lost a lot of Chuny series in general. Like, it's just... There's always, like, a wrinkle to it. This is just straightforward. Like, this is what we're doing, and we're gonna do it. Fun. And then Maverick, to round us out, I did want to hear... John talked about it last time, and I think you might have a little bit. I don't remember. But you're caught up on 16-bit Sensation now?
Yeah, I am. Ultimately, it's been all right, I would say. Like, at this point in the story, we're getting to a point where, God, what has been going on? So, the main, president for the company, Alcoholsoft, who is also Mamoru's dad, I never put that together, but he is working with a console developer to invest some money to get some more stuff going on, because he's feeling underappreciated. Oh, I'm the president of this company, but you have all the artists doing stuff. Why can't I, show my worth or whatever? But that ultimately leads to finding out that this bigwig developer was involved with a lot of embezzlement and fraud and gets arrested, which is clued in by the main girl going in to Mamoru and being like, hey, who is this guy? I don't recognize this guy, which is a fun little quirk of oh, if she doesn't recognize homie, something has happened. But now there's a $1 billion debt that they owe, or sorry, 1 billion yen debt.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
1 billion still a lot, but
no, yeah. And ultimately, now we're in this bit where Mamoru and our main girl are going to be making a game to try and raise the 1 billion yen. And through the power of Bishoujo games, they're going to do it. It's been fun. Again, it's a very cute exploration of this specific era in time, and feels very reminiscent in a way that I could only expect from people who have lived through it. And for the most part, yeah, no story beats that are totally out there. I think the last time that we talked about it, they had just gone through an episode where it's they're referencing Evangelion because it's 95, 96 that she goes back in time.
Mm-hmm.
There, Mamoru's lamenting the death of the PC-98, so he's dealing with that, but at the very least is still able to make PC-98 ports of their future games. Some characters getting introduced near the end that I have no idea how they'll actually become relevant for the remainder of this story, but it's what it is. It's a fun little jab as well, where this whole idea of oh, we're gonna port one of our eroge for the console and make it a Bishoujo game, where just the guy with the wrestling mask is oh, there's no porn in the porno game? Alright. And they're come on, relax, settle down. And he's I'm just saying. Which I think is a funny little wrinkle, again, from people who were probably living in the moment of oh, we're gonna port all of these games to the PlayStation, the Dreamcast, the Saturn, and seeing just how exactly there might be some hurdles in terms of what fans might lose out on if you aren't porting those to have the mods, or if something has to be covered up. Just an interesting case of what exactly do people value from the various aspects of these games.
I'm really excited to see whenever I would love to see more people like them, but I can't wait for Digital Eclipse to start getting into that era of gaming.
Right.
With their documentary work that they've been doing with Atari stuff. Well, who knows, they might be stuck in Atari land forever now, but
maybe. This would make me want to pick up that copy of Dokusei I have.
I was surprised you didn't get to it. I don't remember you talked about getting it.
Other stuff's been in the way.
No, believe me, I know. I've only heard good things about Dokusei.
It's a banging summer.
It's a banging summer. But no, I see, like, works like these in general. Like, I think this is such a fascinating concept for a show. I would love to see just more of this stuff. I would love to see more just honest, this is what inspired me. This is what it was like to do this really harrowing thing. This is why we wanted to do it. Stuff like that. It's just such an underexplored avenue, especially in, like, fiction.
Right.
Like, you get a lot of documentary work for sure, but the idea of, like, I'm going to make a story out of this is compelling. If not, sometimes they go in the most boring direction possible, but cool. We can wrap up there then. I know we'll have John back next time to probably talk about a few more things, and I'll be more caught. I'm going to check out that show that Elvie mentioned, the S-ranked daughter, since I now have someone vouching for it. Yeah, so cool. So next time we're going to be watching The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, Lupin the Third. You can go find that over on Crunchyroll. I guess we can just say over on Crunchyroll now because the damn strikes are over, thankfully.
Those deals are still looking a lot more rotten in hindsight, but...
Okay, yeah, okay.
However, as of now, the strike authorizations are over, so if you did want to look up The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, you can do that on Crunchyroll. But also, if you do not necessarily want to pay that amount to subscribe, there are other methods of getting it.
Yeah, I will say I still do not approve of Crunchyroll.
That's ultimately my thing.
Yes.
You save yourself $8. That's 2 delightful beverages.
But yeah, so we're gonna watch that for next time. As always, you can go to gamesline.tumblr.com/ask to send in opinions or questions, and patreon.com/gamesline gets you the episode like this 1 week early, just $3. Yeah, how about that? And yeah, that'll do it. I hope everyone out there has a good day, night, week, month, year, so on and so forth. It's still just the fall, so not too cold yet. But yeah, see you next time on another episode of Unlimited Roadworks.
誰もいない線路沿いをなぞってく大げさに泣いて笑ってほしくて鮮明で痛い思い出を抱きしめてるさよならよりずっと大切な言葉で伝えたいんだありふれてでも特別でほらこの目じゃなければ